Welcome to day 203 of our BU 365-day challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. And our topic today with respect to the area of contribution area and aspect of our life, as we're doing one thing every day that improves us in some way, is to talk about and ask ourselves, am I up to par with respect to the area of contribution in my life? Am I up to par? And PAR stands for our topic today. And it has something to do with action, right? This card today is about action. I'm going to grab my magnifying glass and read it to you. It's a good one. It says, I am now choosing to live a life of action rather than one of reaction. I am powerfully creating my life. So the A in PAR is action. The R in PAR is reaction. And the P in PAR is proaction. Because we have the ability to be proactive, active, or reactive, right? And that just talks about how much thought and consideration we give to action before we actually take action. So today our topic is PAR, proactive, active, reactive. Now, I'm going to share 5 tips on how we can be less reactive and more active, more action-oriented, more conscious of our actions, as well as 8 different ways to be proactive. Because reactive just comes naturally, right? Whenever something happens, we immediately respond based on our feelings and our past experiences. That's reaction. But if we do these 5 things, number 1, take a second, take a moment to pause and consider what just happened. If somebody says something mean to you, do you immediately snap back, or do you take a deep breath and say, what might be going on here? Take a pause. Number 2, need my magnifying glass. Avoid jumping to conclusions. A lot of times if somebody says something inappropriate or mean to us, we immediately assume their motives. The other day, a lady was walking by our house and the dogs were barking, and the house next door is for sale, and she's not from our neighborhood. So when someone who doesn't belong on our street comes into the neighborhood, the dogs bark. When the UPS men deliver or the mailman delivers, the dogs bark. Why? Because somebody who isn't normally part of the neighborhood enters our territory, and they feel it's their job to protect the whole territory. So she's walking on our little street and, yells to my daughter, they're going to have a hard time selling that house with those dogs barking, or those barking dogs. And my daughter asked her, she didn't hear, she said, well, what did you say? And the lady just said, oh, never mind, and kept walking. Then she said it again. And my daughter was like, well, they only bark at people that don't belong in the neighborhood, or something to that effect. So she took a minute and decided how to respond. But we don't always do that, right? Number 3, consider others' perspectives. Consider what other people might be thinking or doing that caused them to say that. This is a lady that's not from the neighborhood, so why might she have said that? Well, because she was nervous about walking down a street she clearly didn't belong on, or wasn't her neighborhood, and it's a dead-end street, so there's not really much reason to come down it except to be snoopy and find out what's going on at the end of our street. Number 4, turn it into a teaching moment. So what can we learn from this? How can we respond in a better way? Sometimes it's better to just not say anything, or just wave and just keep walking, versus hurting someone's feelings or jumping to conclusion. And I guess my point about this is, the dog's barking, the lady reacted, and she reacted. She didn't think about or follow any of these steps. Number 5, don't forget to take care of yourself. Don't forget to self-care. And I guess that one's kind of a weird fit for me. So reaction is behavior that refers to our immediate response to a feeling about something usually that's uncontrollable in our life, right? Can the lady control the dog's barking? Not really. We attempt at, sometimes we'll put bark collar on the older dog to keep her from barking, but dogs are warning signals, and I totally appreciate it. If anyone were to ever break into our house, there's no way they would get away with it, because the dogs would bark their head off. And frankly, our dogs have the little one especially has an aggressive sounding bark, which I love, because I don't want anybody breaking into the house. I don't want anybody who doesn't belong here intruding. I want to know when someone's at the house and I need to respond, etc. So what are some ways that we can be more proactive? Because we all take action. Sometimes we think about it, sometimes we don't, and then we just react. I will say, if I think back on my life, the times that I have reacted without thinking about it, without being proactive, or without taking action that was deliberate action like we talked about yesterday, those are the only times that I've really gotten myself into trouble or found myself in situations that I could have avoided if I had just taken a deep breath, followed these 5 tips or 4 tips, and thought about it before I responded. But what are some ways to be more proactive? I found a list of 8 different ways to be more proactive, and I'm just going to grab my magnifying glass and read it. Number 1, be aware of the words that you use. Remember, our words mean one thing to us, but they might be a trigger word to someone else. So if you're trying to have a good interaction with someone, you're going to be more conscious of the words that you choose and use as you're speaking to someone. Number 2, plan ahead. Think ahead. Plan ahead in all the areas and aspects of your life, especially in the areas of relationships and communication. And we're going to talk about communication over the next couple of months in much more detail. Every day, we're going to focus on communication for a month, just like we are focusing on contribution this month. So plan ahead. Plan ahead for your contribution. Plan ahead. And let's look at these with respect to being proactive with respect to contribution. Be aware of your words and think about it. Plan ahead. Set goals. Number 3. 4, prioritize. Maybe there's, like for me, there's a lot of different things that I want to help with, a lot of different people, a lot of different organizations, a lot of different groups, a lot of different illnesses and things, a lot of different things I want to do to make the world a better place. But I need to prioritize those things because I'm human. I'm only one person, and I'm not Elon Musk, so I don't have billions of dollars to help with all of the things that I would love to help with. So I have to have priorities. Number 5, learn to problem solve. It's amazing to me how many people are very poor problem solvers and decision makers. And those are skills that are, to me, paramount in being a human being. We need to be able to make decisions. We need to solve problems. We need to focus on the solutions, not the problems. The vast majority of people, humans, focus on the problems, not on the solutions. People that focus on the solutions are the ones that help all the rest of us to have better lives. Number 6, take action. Number 7, learn to take responsibility for your actions. Again, there's one. A whole lot of people on the planet don't think they need to be responsible for their actions. And we are all 100% responsible for everything we say, do, experience, and all of our actions, whether we believe it or not. And maybe you're not paying for it immediately, but I guarantee each and every one of us will pay for and be held accountable to all of our actions, all of our reactions, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we're humans and we all have experience in all of those areas at some point in our existence. And number 8, don't dwell on your mistakes from the past, but learn from them. Learn from them, learn from them, learn from them. I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned personally in my life is that if I don't figure out and learn a lesson and the lesson from the mistakes that I make, I am destined to repeat them. And they won't come back in the exact same way, shape, and form as I experienced them the first time because I didn't get the lesson that time. So they're going to come back to me in a slightly different form. And I can think of dozens and dozens of examples of that in my life. That's why I like the Lifeline exercise. When I look at things, I see my own patterns. It's so hard for us often to see our own patterns. We see things in other people all the time because we're removed from them, but we're so ingrained in our own behaviors and our own beliefs and our own thoughts and our own feelings that it's really hard to step back and say, oh my gosh, I do this every time I'm involved in this situation. And then I wonder why I keep getting this same result that I don't want, that I don't like. So our action item today is just to ask ourselves, am I on par with respect to the contribution area and aspect of my life? Am I doing exactly what I want? Am I following these? Am I being proactive? Am I being active and conscious in my actions? Or am I spending more time being reactive? So par, they're just like in golf, and we're not talking about golf here. I haven't golfed for 30 years, I don't think. 30, yeah, at least 30 years. I think it's been 30 years since I golfed. I found it wasn't as fun when I couldn't see where my ball was going. All right, so are you on par? And ask yourself that question. Yes, I'm on par. I've got a plan. I'm contributing according to that plan, and it's on automatic pilot. I'm more active and proactive than I am reactive in most of my, especially, or at least with the area of contribution of my life. I would say I am below par because I personally have not been proactive in this area. I've had goals in it, but they've been, I mentioned this in the SOAP framework, shotgun approach goals. And so I'm setting up a structure, and I'm working on it. It's not done yet, but I'm creating a structure and an automatic system of giving to the items I care about. And every year we'll reprioritize. We'll do these 8 steps that we need to be proactive now that I found them. So just ask yourself, and you can just say done, or you can say par, above par, below par. Above par to me is you got a plan, you're being proactive, you're being active and proactive, it's automatic, and you do it, it's a part of who you are in the area of contribution. That's how I define it. You can define it any way you want. All right, have an awesome day. Any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow. Not sure what our topic is, but it will be something with respect to contribution. Have a fantastic day.